caught up. Give you everything, man. We'll do anything for us. Now I'm gonna give it up, yeah. No, yeah. Caught up. Give you everything, man. We'll do anything for us. Now I'm gonna give it up, yeah.
What's the feeling? It's euphoria. It's the type of love that directors make a story of. It's the type that makes you get a ring, have a wedding on the beach with your friends and a honeymoon in Kokomo. Man, she had my heart like an open door, overload. Fiend for her love like a drug and an overdose. Ignored the red flags, Crips round some Suwus. Now I'm the fool, the one left jumping through hoops.
Baby, I go on my way to do things for you. So crazy, talking every spit rings for you. For the first time, I know what it feels to share. Oh, but what good is that if getting hurt is all it does? Cause now I feel gave you everything that you would do anything for. And now I'm gonna give it all. Gave you everything that you would do anything for. And now I'm gonna give it all. Makes me things that we used to feel gone away. Future we supposed to have thrown away. Ignoring all the signs that came along the way. So now we can't even get along with it. And they went back. Where to go in time? Where to go? Trying to show you how to live before you. But only taking that giving though.
You started off so strong, I thought I met the woman for me. So I came more correct than any other one before me. I was looking past your scars, I was looking at your heart. You were looking out for you, I was looking out for ours. You say you ride or die, I think you like the sound of it. When the times are tough, you ain't the type to stick around for it. I ain't gonna be the one that's hounded it, I'm grounded it. Even though it's hard to take the steps to turn around from it. I ain't for the meddling or settling, especially when I can have it better with Loretta, Kim, and Evelyn. You can call it petty, but I revel it. Cause I was taking chances that had me completely out of my element. You ain't even deserve it, I gave it still. I done picked the groceries, made the meal, and paid the bill. And you ain't even had the decency to even clean the dishes. I'm finally chucking deuces to this bitch. Man, I swear she had me.
Give you everything that you would do anything for. Now I'm gonna give it all. Gave you everything, would do anything for. Now I'm gonna give it up. Baby, you're not the type of person that you claim to be. So crazy, type of bitch I'll be ashamed to be. Fooled me twice, now shame on me. Now shame on me. Crazy thing, don't want the years explain to me. Cause all I'll be is give you everything that would do anything for. Now I'm gonna give it all. Oh yeah. Give you everything that would do anything for. Now I'm gonna give it all. Yeah. Feelings that we used to feel gone away. Future we supposed to have thrown away. Ignoring all the signs that came along the way. Till now we can't even get along with it. When things went bad, where to go? When times went bad, where to go? Trying to show you life, live before. But you taking that giving my feelings, my future. And you ignore it until now. When things went bad, when times went bad, try to show you life, baby, but you.
Yeah, we getting this money, we living it up.
Stop, rock and roll, stop, rock and roll, stop, rock and roll, stop, rock and roll.
Dropping in on 100-foot swell off the coast. Drinking my hand blunt lit up to roast. Taking no time to relax my mind. Floating on the 7 seas, leaving folks behind. See, my grind is all about the weed and beat. And the shit that I sip to complete my technique. I'm that freak, the street butt naked in the street. For the girls who like my surfboard and their meat. Here's a treat, got you wide open when I speak. As I press fast forward before hitting delete. Ooh, I stink like a skunk on the brink of jumping in the ocean just so I can think. At the bottom, got drugs? Yeah, I got 'em. And if you need something, yo, no problem. Thumbtack, living life on the road to success. Getting wavy out dispensaries when I'm out west.
Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll.
To 2 a.m. in the morning and we still ain't done. Crack the dawn with this party till I see the sun rising up from the east, drink still ice cold. Rolling up another one because I'm feeling bold. Yeah, I got to be at work before it strikes 6. Got a bird in my lap and she's stroking my stick. I slide in the big dick and the girl starts to drive at the snap of the whip. Wild horses on seesaws, penetrating whole rawhides and no draws. No flaws, no lumps or bumps on the snacks. I tide a wave, smash smooth like a Cadillac. Ooh, I drive down her avenue. Thumbtack, refuse to lose, to leave it in while I'm busting, spray it all on the map. I'm Pinocchio, baby, I got some strings attached. Come on. One more hit, one more shot, take it to the top. Champagne bottles go pop, go pop. In a Kia Forte, being chased by the cops, This shit don't stop, I'm on the freeway, 94, headed eastbound. Swam in a swimming pool of alcohol and drowned. So wavy, swerving lanes and stuff. The big bad wolf by huff and puff. And blow the whole house of cards away. Spitting bars on tracks with no delay. Yo, did you hear what I say? I drop chocolate until I see Judgment Day. Ricky Bobby shaking bait, while the girl is passing cake. Ain't no limit what I make. I stay wavy while I stay awake.
Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll.
Y'all party people going through your dance. Get your wave on, let me see them hands. Come on.
Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, cause I swear I don't get it. You know, it's like, it's real. They want me to rock the nice chain on, the Rolex diamond watch. I don't even rock with the physical like that. I'm trying to tap people back into their souls, you know what I'm saying? It's real. Look, I don't mess with the physical, but if I get to shining, then maybe they'll listen though. Nah, I ain't deviating, I'm still on a mission, bro. Trying to wake the blind, they don't see which way to go. Hey, I don't mess with the physical, I'm just tapping into the soul. Living life on the go. Rabbit hole, it get deep, I'm going as deep as it go. You a fish in the bowl, I'm breaking the code. No Da Vinci, it's Fibonacci. Hit them with this knowledge, hit them like I'm Rocky. Gotta keep it humble, no need to get cocky. High frequency, I don't think you can tap it. So I'm here to let you know, you got in the flesh, that's for sure. Hold on to your mind, never ever let it go. I'm just trying to build, trying to get it off the flow. Waking people up, time to get in God mode. It's for real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real. Yeah, I keep it real. And it's real. Keep it 100. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Yeah, it's real. It's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real. I got it.
Yeah. Out here here flexing like you woke. See straight through you, I don't need no telescope. I don't need your constitution, I don't need your white hope. I don't need your good deeds, taking hits round for round like I'm Creed. Why you plotting on my essence? Yeah, steady counting on my blessings. Yeah, this ain't equal competition. If you can't keep it real, it's your character and vision. Only follow intuition, state facts. Never like saying shit I gotta take back. Got the kind of vibe that you can't hijack. Me and my crew set, I put that on my zodiac. Yeah, and I keep it wavy. Stay rooted deep so you really can't shade me. Keep my aura cleansed so your energy don't phase me. Too elevated so my soul can't be grave deep.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Keep it real. Yeah, I keep it real. Yeah, it's real. Keep it 100. Keep it 100. Keep it real.
My woman got $1 million body with a food stamp face. I give her beer money for a champagne taste. She told me it don't bother her that I'm a cheapskate, so I took her ass to Mickey D's on our first date. Yeah, she's having fun and I'm loving it. She got me singing ba da ba 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 while she's sucking it. She's a cheap date and I'm a cheapskate, getting head with a Happy Meal on a first date. Yeah, I only love her when I'm getting sloppy topped off. She deep throated when it's hard, suck it till it's soft. Throat goat, don't choke, gag nor cough. She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. I only love her when I'm getting sloppy topped off. Deep throated when it's hard, suck it till it's soft. Throat goat, don't choke, gag nor cough. She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. Mrs. Lockjaw. She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. Yeah.
Miss Lockjaw.
She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw.
Man, I know you ain't in here calling me no Lockjaw on a motherfucking song. Man, you talking about me, but let me tell you how you be. Temptation, oral fixation, tongue on his tip cause he love the sensation. Throat baby, hanging off the bed. I'm only giving throat, I'm beyond giving head. Tears streaming, eyeballs gleaming, mouth watering. Cause I'm waiting for the steam. No, I don't choke on my throat, baby demon. Got him hooked on the throat like some coke, now he's seen. Please believe it, I'm the only one he's seen. Head so good, call it throat, baby demon. The head so good, call it throat, baby demon.
Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. That slap. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. That slap. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. I'm a square in the streets, but a thug in the bed. All my women give broken paths, getting some hit. And for my eyes, only like a James Bond movie. I got so many women, I get octopus sad. Hell, I don't know. I just needed a word to rhyme to complete my flow. The ugly niggas get money, your bitch already know. Thug nasty, your BC if you don't know. And I've been pimping since pimping, been pimping, and pimping, been pimping for a long time. Pimping, the bitch chose me, but I really ain't tripping because I've been pimping since pimping, been pimping. I've been pimping since pimping, been pimping, and pimping, been pimping for a long time. Pimping, your bitch chose me, but I really ain't tripping because I've been pimping since pimping, been pimping. I'm thug nasty, fuck the rest. I like to smoke a lot of weed and have freaky sex. And I'ma say it again to these stupid motherfuckers memorize my name. Hey, I'm thug nasty, fuck the rest. I like to smoke a lot of weed and have freaky sex. And I'ma say it again to you silly ass bitches memorize my name. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. That slap. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. That slap. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap. Who made the beat that slap?
Nasty made the beat.
Yeah, bitch, that slap.
Now I've been known for playing, but there ain't no playing with you. No passwords on cell phones when I put myself alone with you. Yeah, feeling far too strong to put you on pause for a minute.
Baby, I get lost in you like I get lost in music. Your mood and your set of melodies seduce me like beats to vocals, completes my focus. That's why I got so many different styles to stroke you. We could take two, we could take three. I can take you, then you can take me. We could take multiple days off a week and treat each one like the last we'll ever see, cause
I'm not gonna rush it, cause it's so worth taking our time. Our time. Take a tour of your world, then you're taking a tour of mine. Put your guard down, please, and your arms round me for a minute. Let your thoughts for each, put our minds at ease if you're with it.
Tell me if you in it, please. Visions of you moving around in freeze frame make it awfully hard to keep sane. We don't have no reason to refrain. Close to remain, close for me, babe. Give me a free chance to score like PKs. Euphoria feelings we make. Do something special up your skirt, believe me. You can use the button-up shirt for PJs.
Now that I've had a hit of you,
And you've had a hit of me.
my heart keeps pulling me so close to you.
I'm falling officially. Baby, you ain't even gotta go nowhere. I have everything you need.
If everything goes the way it can, then girl, you can be Mrs. Me.
Our feelings got so strong, we done went more far than a minute. We done made it this long, we gon' take this fun to the limit.
We are everything I thought we'd be. We made it's every odd we've seen. Get back to a big cigar. You say everything that's mine is ours. Rings, vows, and life together. Embark on the journey of life together. I'm sure any storms we can write the weather. Got a bond so strong that over time it's better.
We are one and the same. We made this life together. Watch us blossom forever, no stopping us now. Numbers and things, places out of your range. I'm sure you'd have the time of your life, babe.
Showtime, showtime. Hello, my people. On tonight's show, it's a rap and bitches extravaganza. We're gonna be premiering some dope new tracks by rapper slash porn star Thug Nasty. I love Thug Nasty. Ha! Real cool guy. I mean, this dude has a lot of porn. I can't go to his porn sites on the show because you can't call me Ustream and YouTube and everything. But trust me. Just search for Thug Nasty. You'll find him. I'm sure he'll tell us what his sites are. So let's call him in. Calling Thug Nasty.
Hey, what's up with it? This must be Todd fucking Awful.
Oh, hell yeah!
Todd fucking Awful. What's up with it, man?
What is up, Thug Nasty?
Oh, man, you know me, man. You fucking busy, you getting money as usual, man. Hey, you know what? I just, man, I smoke so much fucking weed, man. As soon as I see the fucking number, I just remember he had an appointment, man. What's good, Todd Awful? All
right.
ToddAwful.com. What's good, man? What's doing over there?
Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, 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 too nasty for the radio.
And it was written. I speak into existence every lyric that I'm spitting. No bullshit. I wouldn't shit you if you was my last turd. All a man had is his word. Thug nasty, too nasty for the radio. I wouldn't clean my act up if you pay me though. Your girl loves my dog style and wanna pay me though. I'm from the old school, no Captain Save a hoe. I got them on the daily though. Women are my luxury. I'm a sex addict, no need for recovery. No skullduggery, no shit. Skullduggery's a word, you can Google it. Call me a lyrical soldier, vocabulary vulgar. Every morning I get thanks, waking, bake, drinking Folgers. I'm from 707. Hey, backwards that I told you I'm on the pod off the TV show because I'm too nasty for the radio. Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug nasty, too nasty for the radio. Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug nasty, 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 too nasty for the radio.
Yeah. 30. Okay, yeah.
I love you, puppy.
Yeah. AV. Line them up. Might talk about it. I'ma get it done. I follow this nigga that make him my son. Just cause you got a gun. Bet you won't shoot. That's China money. We really getting loot. Mad cause you got the boot. Where were you when the rent was due? Online, telling on crew. Despicable how you hitting hoes. Paperwork thought nobody knows. Hitters pull up, white bite froze. That's the path you chose. I'm nothing to play with just cause I stay lit. No more words, you can save it. Top came off the volcano, smoky weather. I'm a nice guy, turned into predator. Know how to get at you. Keep on shining. That success gon' kill you like I did bitch vagina. Really go in, dug that ditch. Just waiting for you to fall in. I'm always win. They talking spicy, spitting ghost pepper. Once you go there, I'ma never let up. Nigga, shut up. You know I'm official. We can throw them hands, don't need no pistol. Heard you talking spicy, spit that ghost pepper. Once you go there, I'ma never let up. Nigga, shut up. You know I'm official. We can throw them hands, don't need no pistol.
I keep it Glock on me. Niggas try to run up on me, I'ma rock on me. If I go there, my niggas got the bond money. Niggas talking on the net, boy, it's mad funny. Say 10 toes down. Keep to myself, I don't fuck with you clowns. I'm all about wealth. Playing with Reem, that's bad for your health. Heard the boy done put his ass on the shelf, yeah. I'm the only nigga with an Ape City piece. Go and reach for it, I'ma let the city speak. Heard he speaking on my name, but you niggas weak. Shout out Fashion Over Man's got a nigga flick. I fell off and came back all in a week. I don't really give a fuck if you feeling me. I know niggas got dreams about killing me. Cause they know I kill shit, let a nigga eat, damn. Act like us, but they used to be fam. Shoot like Kobe when I'm ever in the jam. Cut niggas off wasn't part of the plan. Niggas access gotta get to the band, yeah. Shoot like Kobe while I'm ever in the jam. Cut niggas off wasn't part of the plan. Niggas access gotta get to the band.
Talking spicy, spitting ghost pepper. Once you go there, I'ma never let up. Nigga, shut up. You know I'm official. We can throw them hands, don't need no pistol. Heard you talking spicy, spit that ghost pepper. Once you go there, I'ma never let up. Nigga, shut up. You know I'm official. We can throw them hands, don't need no pistol. Yeah.
What up, Anna? This your boy DJ Ro, Anna's Global Radio. What's up?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Roselle?
What's up? What's up?
Okay, going live. Okay, so no more showing videos. They shut us down on both. They took it.
Dude. I'm gonna stop doing that. I don't know what it is with your videos, but yeah, your videos is not. They're not letting that stuff go.
They're not, and it sucks. I mean, I don't know. It's like the news and stuff mostly, and then I got it shut down on Facebook too. That really surprised me. I didn't know they were.
I'd be trying to tell people. People try to don't understand me. I used to tell Age the same thing. I'm like, sometimes, like even when I play other rappers' music, if it's sampled, sometimes it'll kick you off of their music if it's sampled and they can catch the sample.
Well, I explained that to Jamila. I tried to explain that to Jamila a bunch of times when we weren't going on Facebook, but didn't want to listen. Because yeah, I mean, I know you can't do. We weren't doing any music. I mean, I would go offline when we're doing the music, but I guess like YouTube videos are the same thing.
Yeah, Facebook is actually worse. YouTube, at least you have a chance, and they don't completely cut your Facebook. If you play something bad on Facebook, man, they get you.
They do. Yeah. They can't stop predators from going after kids, but they stop us from doing shit like that.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, man. It's no money, there's no money, and there's no money for them. I mean, basically they're making a lot of money off of internet bombs and access because they want to keep people online. So if they keep bombarding people with harmful content, they don't stay on. And apparently now what's happening is people are selling a lot of drugs on Snapchat. So my brother's representing a family whose teenage boy died. An adult sold him Snapchat sold him fentanyl over Snapchat. And it's just the most perfect way to do something illegal because it disappears.
Wow.
Yeah. On Snapchat, there's no record of it.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah. They have this, their law firm has information. They have like information from a meeting where Zuckerberg said teenagers are herd animals. And so they knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, they knew that teenagers are vulnerable and impulsive. And if you know all that, you can figure out exactly how to entrap them. And the longer they stay on, the more money the companies make. So and they bombard young people with harmful, stuff they haven't, like if they look for like a suicide video once, they'll keep getting suggestions to go look at more of them. And so they're just being bombarded, and they are, adults go crazy on the internet. So, yeah. Well, speaking of the law, I've been listening to Supreme Court arguments today. I was listening to something kind of by accident. And so then I went to see what else was happening today. And I was like, shit, they did all that. But there's another case about gay rights. And this is one where a web designer it's something or other to do with a web designer being asked to do something or other for a gay marriage and not wanting to do it. So the reason so for me, I just feel like, okay, well, you're creating something. I mean, if somebody asks me to write something that I don't want to write, or that I disagree with, I'm not going to do it. You know, I mean, you're not going to play music that you don't want to play. But if you run a business that provides a service, you're supposed to provide it to everybody. That's the difference. That's equal accommodations, basically. So that's the legal point that they're making, because I mean, I just try and look at everything with a real open mind. And I mean, yeah, because when it comes to creativity, then okay, so this was okay, like this is, for example, and that's actually where I was working today. It was a photography studio. So they take photos of people. So if a gay couple came in and asked to have their marriage, a marriage photograph, they could probably get in trouble for refusing to do it. And so the quote I found was, first, no artist has to open a business to the public in the first place. Most writers, painters, and other artists never do. So that's the difference they're making is between having a business and working on commission. Yeah, like if you work on commission, then you don't need to take a project that you don't want to take. They were talking like, okay, Annie Leibovitz doesn't take, but you know, I mean, she takes. So yeah, I mean, if you're free to photograph who you want, and free to not photograph who you don't want. But if a business under the equal accommodations is supposed to be open to everybody, you're not supposed to be able to turn people away to not provide a service based on discrimination. So that made more sense to me. So they're saying like, okay, if your business makes wedding cakes, you have to make a wedding cake for everybody that wants a wedding cake. You can't pick and choose based on whether you like the fact that they're being married or not.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. And you know, these cases are held for, I mean, they represent something bigger. I mean, obviously, most people, if they're having a wedding, you know, I mean, they're gonna, like, who wants somebody to make your wedding cake that doesn't even approve of you? You know, like, yeah, you just go someplace else if people are nasty at a business. But, and this is something I've talked a lot about with conservatives, that could also mean, I mean, the example they use is like, okay, well, what if an ambulance refuses, like, what if somebody refuses to provide first aid and stuff like that? So what if somebody is denied medical care? So they need to pick legal cases like this that are to make a point. So Amy Coney Barrett, the conservative, was asking, people love to flip this shit around. They're going like, okay, well, can a gay business refuse to serve straight people? And most people, I'm sort of like, yeah, and I'm like, no way, man, we want their money. But so she was talking about whether somebody could advertise in the website or whatever of a gay organization. Well, that's an organization, not a business. And so far as, and you know, they were talking about journals, it's like journals choose what to write. They don't have what to run. So, you know, I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, Thurgood Marshall did not want to, he didn't approve necessarily, or I don't know. I mean, he didn't like the sit-in tactic where people would go in, people of all races would go in and sit together at, or Black people go and sit where they were denied service. Thurgood Marshall didn't like that way of going about things because his life, well, I mean, I think one of the biggest reasons is that, the biggest reason is that his life was the law, and he believed that the law could solve these social ills. But also, he felt that the government did not necessarily have the right to tell people who to do business with. So, I mean, it's a valid question. So, yeah. Yeah, okay. And then the other thing they were talking about, and they couldn't have been doing all this at the Supreme Court in a day, I don't think. The other thing they were talking about was about redistricting. And I was looking at it to try and we can thank Trump for it. Trump claimed that elected officials, legislators, could overturn a court law, could overturn a legal ruling. And which used to be a really far out theory. I mean, because it's like different so, you know, it would say that, like, say that would mean that when the United States like when gay marriage, that's kind of the point, that like, okay, that would mean like state legislators could get rid of gay marriage. But that's kind of, this had to do with redistricting. I mean, this was more narrow because the whole like states' rights thing, I mean, we've talked about that a lot. It had to do with just elections, with whether the court has the right to overturn the legislature. Well, wait a minute. Okay, this is either way. Okay, so like Trump wanted the legislators to be able to just vote and overturn election results, and that's just not how it works. So I mean, it's pretty it is complicated, and I hope I'm doing a decent job explaining it. I mean, that was okay. 1948 was Lyndon Johnson's race for the Senate. And there's a lot written about it. There's this mammoth series of biographies about Lyndon Johnson. There's 4 huge books, and it's only gotten to midway through his presidency. And it's just wonderful writing. I mean, it's said that Robert Caro changed the way people do biographies, and it's hard to describe exactly, but sometimes I'll be reading something and just think like, oh yeah, they're influenced by Caro. Because at first I was like afraid of these books because they're so long, but he really gets the story part. I have some issues with him. He wound up for his first book, Johnson relatives and friends spoke to him, but then they stopped because they felt he was so critical of Johnson. And in the book about 1948 election, Lyndon ran against Coke Stevens, who had been governor of Texas, and Caro just really romanticized the guy. I mean, Lyndon was devious, but this guy, Caro, totally glossed over his racism and union busting, and totally romanticized him as like this cowboy and all that. Like, I mean, you know, unfortunately, there are so many fucking movies about the JFK assassination, and the early days are so. There's the first book about LBJ, about his early, like when he got to Congress as assistant to a congressman when he was still in his 20s. It's so interesting, all the stuff he did then. The 1948 election would have been would be a great movie. But people just want to keep making more Kennedy films. So the loser, I mean, nobody really disputes even that Johnson stole the election, that Johnson cheated. Like, one of the arguments is whether Coke Stevens cheated too. And back in those days, it was just so much easier for people to do whatever they want. I mean, because like when Caro started writing the books in the 70s, so there were plenty of people still alive that had been part of that. And they're saying people could just like, you know, hand you fistfuls of money. They go get a bunch of farm workers and drive them to a polling place and have them go through one by one and like vote however they were told to vote, and then give them a shot of tequila for payment. Yeah. And so they did stuff like that, but it became there was a dispute. They got it down to a certain county, and it was something where the voting rolls were, I mean, they talk about fake votes now. A bunch of names were listed, all in the same handwriting with the same kind of pen. Basically, I mean, they didn't even try to, they didn't even go to the trouble of making the handwriting look different, you know, so far as finding fake voters. And so they seized on the opponents, Lyndon's opponent seized on this one county and a ballot box, that opening a ballot box and counting what the votes had actually been, not just the list of them. And so it was a huge legal fight. And so the Lyndon's people would have been saying, you know, they were like screaming that, you know, the federal courts has no authority in the election because they took it to the federal courts. It's so, I mean, it's, I got to go read that part of the book again. That was how they won. They took it. I mean, if you can set the terms of an argument. Like, okay, if you have an argument going on, you know, I mean, one of the things you can do is like switch it so that the argument is something else. So what they did was basically hop over a procedure and say that it didn't matter what was in the box, the courts could not compel them to open it. And that's how Lyndon Johnson became the senator in 1948 and was a great senator. And it was just really, I mean, and then again, it gets really interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he certainly did some, so yeah, so that's basically the arguments about going back and forth between the courts and the legislative process.
Okay.
And okay, and then speaking of legislatures, we're sending congratulations to Reverend Raphael Warnock, who won his Senate race. Again, there was, I guess they tied, or it was too close to call in November, so they had a runoff.
Is that the one in Georgia?
Yeah. 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 What's the name of Martin Luther King's church again?
You know, I don't know.
Shit. Yes, you do. It's spoken of all the time. I mean, I've been there. So anyway, well, this is embarrassing, man. I hate when he's the pastor of Martin Luther King's church, and he now is in, the Democrats now have a majority in the Senate, and Georgia now has 2 Democratic senators, which nobody would have thought could happen a few years ago. I mean, it's just really interesting how things change. A lot of credit goes to Stacey Abrams, who did a lot of work registering voters. So yeah, everybody should be very appreciative of her. And Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Ebenezer. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the it's pretty, it's just, what if he preached George Floyd's funeral. So yeah, quite a guy. He's a graduate of Morehouse College, and yeah, now he's in the Senate for 6 years and can really do stuff, hopefully. Okay, so Vallejo is having a whole big issue right now with the police advisory board. Having a police advisory board is something that many people think will help to hold cops accountable. It's never been too clear to me or to anyone. I mean, it's not like I'm the only one that notices this problem. Everybody else does too. Like, okay, they can rule, that's an outside police advisory board. Like, okay, well, what's their responsibility? They're not going to have any authority. And so, I mean, they can say that an officer did such and such, but they don't have power to fire the officer, and they're not a court. So I think the idea, I guess, would be how it could work would be to have influence, like maybe if the police advisory board says an officer acted wrongly, maybe the district attorney would be more likely to prosecute them, but not in Solano County where we live. So people have been, so they've been having meetings about the police advisory board, and the city council came up with a proposal, and people felt that there was not enough time to look at it. And so with only a few days notice, they called a meeting for 6 p.m. on Tuesday night. I mean, hardly anybody can get there at that time. I mean, you're just making it impossible for so many people who have a stake in this. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons I go there, so that there's at least people there showing interest. But I never speak at those things. I mean, I don't feel that I don't feel like I have that much. I mean, I feel like there's people that know much more and are much more close to the issue, and having meetings at 6 p.m. on a weeknight is a very good way for them not to be there. So the other problem was, one of the they had all these qualities, all these characteristics and qualifications for being on the board. One of them was you cannot have been convicted of a felony in the past 15 years. And like, what? I mean, you can get your voting rights restored after you get out of jail for a felony. I mean, that's bullshit. It's against what I think are any principles of fairness. And that, I mean, I just believe very strongly that when people are released, when people get out of prison, they should be encouraged to get involved in society. So, maybe so nobody just, and then they said, and nobody who's been on Vallejo police force or relative of theirs is allowed to be on it. But people that have been on the police force from other cities can be on it. Yeah. I mean, if they need to have not been cops for 7 years. I mean, to my understanding, the blue code is like omerta. It is for life. I mean, it doesn't matter if somebody was a cop 8 years ago, they're still going to side with the cops, most of them. And like, they didn't want people on that had sued the city. And that's, I mean, if people are having if people are like suing the city, they shouldn't be on a city board. But people that have had settlements with the city, I mean, they should have the freedom to, and it's not like people just get put on it. They need to be appointed by a council member, for one thing. So you kind of have that checks and balance. And they kept talking about, somebody's going to be biased. Well, I mean, that word is just used so poorly, because everybody I think your bias, I mean, everybody has a bias. Your bias is your point of view based on your life experience or your opinion or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, so I think that, so basically you're not allowing people that are very close to this issue to be involved in it, which is just ridiculous. I mean, you know, it's not a paid position. People get involved in boards and commissions and all of that because it's something they care about and know about. So a police advisory commission is going to be the same thing. So it's like you're saying you don't want people that have strong feelings about this issue. I mean, you know, if somebody isn't willing to listen respectfully to other people's points of view, then they shouldn't be on any commission.
I think they should mix it up. They should mix up the advisory.
Yeah.
Different types. I agree. They should have it like, you know, maybe an average person.
Yeah.
That's not a cop, you know, and just kind of have a different variety of people.
Yeah. I mean, including people, it's sort of, you know, I mean, a lot of people are involved in this case, in these issues because of losing relatives to police violence and are so, okay, so you're deeply involved because of I mean, that is just how and why people get involved in things, because of their personal experience. So you're saying that people that are so deeply invested in this issue can't have a place on it. So yeah, so they were ironing out some of that, because I mean, it's just also, I mean, boards and commissions and all that. I mean, it's tricky. I think it's tricky to fill them. I mean, especially in a small town, like the arts commission, you know, I mean, you can, and like the arts commission gives out grants to artists, and everybody on the commission just about is an artist, because those are the people that are interested in it. So yeah, there's safeguards to try and prevent them just giving grants to their friends, but you can't, you know, I mean, if you're asking people to commit their time for free, they need to have good reasons to do it. They need to have strong feelings or be passionate about something. So meanwhile, I'm moving on with the ASL at city council meetings, just because I can. So what they started doing, we delivered, a letter was delivered. I dropped off a letter a year ago, signed by deaf people requesting ASL accommodations. And so I have said over and over again to anybody, like, please respond to them, don't respond to me. I'm just dropping off the letter. Another friend of mine, like, called me, he was all pleased because the mayor wrote him back, and I'm like, yeah, he didn't write any deaf people back. That's fucked up. And so it's like they think it's like they think that, like, no, you don't need to hear to get an email. I mean, email. So they started running captions on the video, which is just wrong. I mean, they're wrong. They're a waste. So I mean, you can't, and anybody that doesn't believe me, just turn on captions and watch them. They're inaccurate. They get words wrong all the time. And language isn't just even just the words. It's its pauses, its inflections. ASL interpreters get that across too when they interpret. And on the captions, it all just like runs together. It's just bullshit. And so the other thing that happens is then everybody starts saying, well, what about this? What about this? And what I try and say is like, okay, it's not for us to be talking about this. It is for deaf, like, okay, if there is going to be something like this deaf people need to decide what it's going to be. It needs to be their decision, because there is a lot of technology and different things that people do, and deaf people are the ones that know about them. But meanwhile, nobody ever even answered them. So I wrote another letter, and I wrote a letter to the editor that's, they publish everything. So that'll be cool. I was a little bit more in the last paragraph. I said something like, the city of Vallejo seems to be counting on the fact that deaf people have other things to do besides file a lawsuit, but that won't always be the case. And we're not going anywhere. Because people are saying to me like, oh, well, do people want to come? Well, like, how the fuck do they don't know, because it hasn't been available. And you are supposed to, the Americans with Disabilities Act, it doesn't matter whether there's one person. You're obligated to provide accommodations for that one person. And yes, of course, it's going to be more people, but people are not going to, it's not like anybody is sitting around pining to attend a city council meeting, and they're not familiar with the meetings. So like, there are ASL interpreters for COVID briefings and for wildfires and all of that. So it's like, basically like, okay, well, we're going to have ASL because we don't want deaf people to die, but we're not going to include them in life. And that is like, that's just that's also the crux of the public accommodations law. I mean, everybody has a right to participate in public spaces in the world. So what I'm gonna do is, I wrote something really short, and I said, it is segregation that deaf people are excluded from city government, because I just want people to fucking get it. Like, yes, this is segregation. And then I said, it is autism that a hearing person is saying this to other hearing people. And I got a friend of mine who knows ASL a little. She's real nervous about this. I mean, she's not an ASL interpreter. She just knows some ASL. She's going to come along with me and interpret, like I gave her, that's why the statement's real short, partially, so that she can do it. And she has it in advance, because that's just going to make the point, because she said, like, autism, she said, like, well, people don't know what that is. Are you going to explain it? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, because nobody is, because I want them, here's something going on and they don't know what it means. Like, okay, well, that's what these things are like for deaf people. So, and I just, like, when I first heard the term, it's just vital for communities to speak for themselves. And everything I put out there is just, I could talk more, I could explain more, but I want people to get the message from deaf people. And I'll just keep at it, doing things the way that I'm doing it. And to just like, here are like, it turns this turns into discussions on Facebook of a bunch of hearing people saying, well, what about this? What about this? What about that? And I was like, fuck you, you know, I mean, it's not your decision. You don't know. And so, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to have, and the thing is, I'm going to video it. It's going to be videoed and posted and shared as much as possible, because that's the other reason, like, why I'm probably going to go, I'll go talk at a different time and explain more, but I'm kind of doing this for deaf people, because so that this is interpreted, and so that people will see we're interpreting like, okay, we know that it's fucked up. We know that hearing people asking hearing people to do this is fucked up. So, and that, okay, and we're in this position of not being able to sign very well because there's not an interpreter. Somebody was saying to me like, why don't the deaf people go down to council too? It's like, well, because there's no interpreter. Why should they? So yeah, and then you know, so I'm just like bringing up like, yeah, they totally have grounds to sue, but lawsuits are stressful and time consuming, and people just, you need to be, nobody deaf really wants to take that on at the moment. And I mean, I'm just doing stuff like this because I feel like you should invest, that it's just trying to do stuff within my community, that the world is, there's so much going on in the world that I can't do anything about. But if you do the things you do on a smaller level are part of the bigger picture. And if Vallejo, California becomes a better, more just place for deaf people, that is part of the larger struggle. So you want us to take a break?
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll be back, everybody.
You and I had so much fun. When we met, you became my trusted one. I poured my heart out to you. You listened with care. Our schoolmates thought we were lovers, but that we didn't dare. I spent years chasing immature girls, and you were always ahead of the rest. We had a mutual attraction, but I just wanted sex. You always made me smile. You and I could have been the best. I should have told you that I love you. I should have told you that I care. You were the one that made me laugh. You were the one that was always there. I should have told you that I love you. I should have told you that I care. You were the one that made me laugh. You were the one that was always there. I should have told you. 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 I was young and foolish and couldn't see past my penis. We could have been together, and now there's nothing left between us. You and I together could have lived a life. Now I hear that you are someone else's wife. I'm sure you're happy with your husband and kids. And now I just think about all the things I never said or did. I should have told you that I love you. I should have told you that I care. You were the one that made me laugh. You were the one that was always there. I should have told you that I love you. I should have told you that I care. You were the one that made me laugh. You were the one that was always there. Now I've changed and have grown to be a better man. I'm no longer blinded by physical beauty. I see things for what they are, and now I understand. I just wanted to say that on this very day, I love you. And you were the one that got away. I love you. And you were the one that got away. You say God loves us all, but Christianity was used to enslave my people. You tax the gays and work side by side with them, but say for marriage, they're not equal. You say I live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, but I know for a fact that the founding fathers had slaves. I know for a fact that the founding fathers had slaves. You tell me to give thanks and praise on Thanksgiving dinner, but you butchered and killed the so-called Indian and stole their land. I have the nerve to coin the phrase, Indian giver. I guess that's how you became the winner. The government says that we're spending too much and that they're broke. But every time I get paid, you skim tax money before I even get my check. Now that's what I call a joke. The so-called Indian already understood that you could never own the land and that the land owns you. Priests, politicians, and reverends love to scream and yell about gay marriage. It's a policy they'll always dispute. So why are reverends, priests, and politicians always caught with male prostitutes? Love and marriage should be for all people. Who are you to decide what constitutes as equal? You say it's a free country, but why does everything cost? Your greed infiltrates everything, and you could care less about the cost. As long as you get what you want and get called the boss. To you, it doesn't matter if the working class is at a financial loss.
Y'all, we are back. Anna's Global Radio. What's going down, Anna?
Hey, who are we just listening to?
That was the Noble House.
Okay, who's that? Have I
Noble House?
I know, but have they been on? Wow, that's
they were on. I think they were on Age's show at one point.
Okay. I want to
It was
get.
a guy. It was a guy. You liked it?
Yes, I did.
So I might have to talk to Age about it. Maybe we can get him on your show.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. Hey, what's up, Calvin? How you doing? And okay, yeah, I'd love to have him on the show. Okay, so yeah, so after last, at least I did edit out just age. So there's something of him posted. So okay, that was very cool. Very cool. Okay. I'm not interested in like the stories, all the like stories about murders and all that, but Pastor Quick had posted about he's on my friends list. He was my pastor. I don't know. When somebody's been your pastor, you kind of think of them that way, even if they haven't been. But I could consider him a friend too. He posted about the Wayne Williams case in Atlanta, and then he posted about an article that James Baldwin had written about it, and so I went and found the Baldwin article and was reading it, but then I saw that there was a series on HBO, and it's about a case known as the Atlanta child killings. And this was in the late 80s, early 90s. 27 boys and young men were murdered in Atlanta, and it was wait, or was it the late 70s? No, it was the late 70s, early 80s. And what am I saying? I had it backward. And they were children. The oldest was about 16. It was really children. And so people were terrified. They were this would happen, like some bodies would be found on the same day. That is a lot of people dying. And so, and then, and Atlanta had a Black mayor at the time. So people were really pressuring him to find out what had happened. Meanwhile, there were people saying, and there was a Black police chief too. So there were people also saying that, well, it can't be racism, that this isn't being solved because because our leaders are Black. But that's when, I mean, it's an example. I mean, many people would consider an example of systemic racism, that it's deeper even than just one person having a certain job. I'll go back to that in a minute. But so there was a lot of pressure. I mean, Atlanta was becoming known for murders, and they were trying to get businesses in. They were looking at hosting the Olympics and all that. So, and back then there was no DNA testing. So you think about, I mean, so, the bodies were being found and like decomposed and all that. And so then 2 men in their 20s were killed. And so what the cops were doing was staking out bridges, and they found somebody. They matched somebody's car to a car that had been on the bridge, and they thought that they had heard a body being dropped over. So anyway, it was a guy named Wayne Williams who was wanting to be like a video director. He worked at a radio station and wanted to be a journalist and all that. So he was tried for the murder of the adults, of the 2 adult men. He was tried, found guilty, and sent to jail. So the families of those children nobody was ever tried for those murders. And I mean, if somebody's a serial killer of children, you kind of think it's just kind of strange that then they would also go kill adults. I mean, people tend to have like an, MO sort of thing. And there was just always unease about that. And then Keisha Lance Bottoms, who was the mayor of Atlanta up until I think she stepped down like this year. She decided not to run again. And so she appointed a task force to re-examine it with DNA evidence. She said that, I mean, she grew up in Atlanta and she remembers how scary it was that, people get freaked out with like one missing kid. I mean, this was so many of them, and some, like I said, some in the same week. So HBO did a documentary. It got real involved and interviewed people and found, like, one of the things they used was fibers on the bodies matching fibers that were on the carpet at Wayne Williams' home. And he lived with his parents, and yeah. And so it was the Ku Klux Klan. They practically admitted it. And, there's just, and, they found out. So that's basically, hopefully there's people, they interviewed people, they found like there was also dog fur, dog hair that was used in the case. And the Williams family didn't have a dog, but the Ku Klux Klan members that they spoke to did, and it matched. So this was made about a year ago. So when I see something like, I was like, okay, well, what's going on now? And the latest is that the DNA is still being examined. But when I would just think that, it's so sad with so many dead bodies. There's a lot of evidence. There's just going to be a lot of evidence. It's not like you're just trying to so I don't know. Basically there's a lot of some remains were not able to recover recover much, but with others they did. So so the guys that are believed to have done it are alive, because basically you could say like, okay, well, Wayne Williams went to jail and the killings stopped, but the Ku Klux Klan could have decided that they managed to kill all these children and get somebody else and get a black man sent to jail, and maybe they'd give it a rest. So yeah. And then the other thing that the task that the reexamination is supposed to do is find people that, you know, I mean, there could have been cases that weren't even reported, just for various reasons, and or that, yeah. So, and then, so Keisha Lance Bottom said, you know, she was just saying this is not a free Wayne Williams campaign. I mean, he got out of, you know, his parole has consistently been denied. His next time is in 5 years. Meanwhile, nobody's killed him in prison. I mean, yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, hopefully that, because, you know, you could, I think you can, I just can't, I mean, you know, when you have a serial killer, you don't try them for every case, usually. You don't try them for all of the cases but not to try him for any of the cases involving children is just crazy. And just, you know, they wanted to you know, President Reagan was talking about it. I mean, they wanted to get somebody. They wanted Atlanta was had a new convention center. They were trying to get more businesses to come there. So yeah, but you know, it was not that long ago. And I know, yeah. And so just, oh, but so what I was saying was, since he, I'm not sure how it works, since he was found guilty and sent to prison, I don't know how it would work, because you could just, I mean, it seems to me that what they should do is charge him with charge him with the murders of some of the children, and then have a trial and see if you can convict him on that.
Do they have proof that he killed the children?
Well, that's what they would need to come up with at the trial. I mean, they never, and his defense team would be able to, you know, I mean, yeah, they used the fiber. I mean, you know, who knows, because that wasn't part of the trial. And that would mean that his defense team would have a lot more access to any information about the Ku Klux Klan members. So I don't know. I mean, it's just another, I mean, he was a little guy too. I mean, not that little people can't be, small people can't be strong, but I mean, it would have made.
Look at most serial killers though.
Oh, I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to serial killers.
When you look at serial killers, most of them aren't really like the strongest, toughest looking guy, so to speak. Well,
yeah, exactly. You don't have that. That's one of the reasons they get away with it.
Yeah, like Jeffrey Dahmer. Come on now. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if before we knew he was a serial killer, if you saw someone like him, you probably wouldn't even expected him to be a serial killer.
No, I don't know what serial killers look like. Well, and also, I mean, he did like kill, because one of the things that somebody was claiming that he couldn't have gotten the body off of the bridge because it was heavy. It was like, well, he could have dragged it, you know, like, yes, you can do that. So of the adults, I mean, that's the thing, he was tried for the adults, not the children. And, you know, like, yeah, certainly. I mean, I think some of the kids were like 7. I mean,
then there was the other guy, the one that was killing all the ladies, the one that the ladies liked.
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
I mean, would he look like a serial killer to you?
I don't know what
in theory. I mean, we could say that now because we know he's a serial killer, but you know, they used to say back then he was kind of a ladies' man kind of dude.
was.
So you wouldn't think
I
most
knew
women.
people, yeah. I mean, because a lot of that took place in Seattle. My family knew people that knew him. You know, not like, you know how it is after when somebody's notorious, then suddenly everybody knows them. But my mom claimed that she had a friend that worked with them. So
I just never heard of really any serial killers that would look like a big, strong dude. Most of them have been like the weirdest looking guys, like even Wayne Gacy, the big fat clown dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they just don't seem they're the ones that people, like you said, would not expect to be serial killers.
That's true. And that's certain. You know, I mean, it's like how people get in car accidents like 2 blocks from their home because they think that you know, oh, we don't need to be careful here. Like, and that's why Mount Rainier in Washington is climbed by a lot of like real big name professional climbers climb it just for like various reasons. It's like supposed to be like similar to Mount Everest, but you know, obviously much smaller. And there's been a lot of like pro mountaineers that died on that mountain, which is smaller and easier, but it's because you just don't take precautions when you think, you know.
Man, you know how hard it is, man. I remember hearing about Mount Everest. Everybody has anybody ever done it yet and came back down?
Mount Everest?
There's one I heard that it's
people.
Okay, I heard there was one though.
Special anymore. Lots of people have done it.
Because I mean, I used to hear stories that when you go up there, it's just the air.
Oh yeah,
it gets so cold that it's kind of hard.
Well, yeah, but now like at least a lot of people have done it because now it's a tourist thing. There's climbing companies that will take people on these trips. I mean, people that aren't even climbers, people that like aren't even that experienced, and they hire people called there's a community called Sherpas, and so I guess they're Nepalese,
like people that go with them.
Yeah, that carry everything for them, so they don't need to carry their own shit. And now people use oxygen while they're climbing.
Oh, okay.
So that makes it a lot easier. But like some of them, like you can practically, like some of them are practically like dead weights. If you're like a pro mountaineer that's all buff and somebody's paying you $100,000, I mean, some of those trips are like $100,000. Somebody could pay you $100,000 to drag them up the mountain, then they take a picture of their friends and say they climbed Mount Everest.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's changed a lot, because the last time I knew, man, it was like no one could do it, and everybody who's done it that died up there and froze.
Lots of people have done it. I mean, lots of people, because it just has this mystique. So lots of professional climbers did it. Oh my God, you should look at some of the pictures, because now I've seen images of these lines of people going up. It looks like Costco. There's so many people doing it, and it turns into a big problem because there's only a brief period of time when the weather allows you to climb Everest, and there's so many fucking tour guides that they're practically like stepping on each other. So, you know, and then you get people that are one of the real famous stories was Into Thin Air, about a blizzard where like 10 people died, and a book was written about it, and that was sort of, it was I think how a lot of people became informed about commercial mountain climbing. And that's hard. I mean, mountain climbing was just something that used to be for tough people that were kind of loners and independent, and So when you get this culture of people that don't even carry their own fucking packs, that's rough. And there's people that there's too many people that rely on cell phones, which is like bullshit, because now there's a lot of rescues that take place. People aren't as careful because they have their cell phones. People go further than they should, and then they call on their cell phone to be rescued. And rescues are super expensive, but you can't like charge people for that, because then they're worried that then they won't call. And if somebody gets into a dangerous sort of place, I mean, you're risking your own life. People are risking their lives to go rescue them. I mean, there's rescuers that die. So, I mean, I mean, I was like real interested in mountaineers for a while, and the climbers. I mean, you know, there was a guy that was like really famous and who died on a climb. And professional climbers they're like sports stars. They have contracts with people and sponsorships. So with some of them, I think it's kind of selfish to even have a family. And I mean, everybody, how you calculate risk is really different. But I mean, some of these climbers, I mean, they're gone all the time doing something that's dangerous. So sometimes I just think that it's just selfish to have children if you're or I don't know. I mean, not that you, but that's a personal like family thing. But I mean, I think it would just be really hard because, I don't know. I mean, it's like having your parent die because they die in an avalanche is on a mountain I think that's different than having them die at war or something like that. I mean, it would be hard when you know somebody has had a choice about it, but I don't know. But yes, lots of people, and you know, I mean, I would never, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, I think hiking is boring, but I don't want to climb someplace where, I mean, to me, it's like, if I can't carry my own pack, that means I'm not in good enough shape for the climb, which I'm surely not, because I'm in terrible shape. But yeah, I mean, you should be able to carry, you should be. And, now people travel with more and more oxygen. So I don't even think when in the book Into Thin Air, the author, John Krakauer, is a great writer. He was there on a assignment for a outdoor magazine, and so he was a regular guy. I mean, he was one of these guys that had done a lot of climbing and was a real outdoors person and was just a regular like working class journalists. And yeah, so people paid $100,000. So he's with people that are paying $100,000 for this trip, or close to that. So he was writing about, I mean, so for him, it was real uncomfortable having the Sherpas do so much of the work. But see, they're much more, the air isn't so difficult for them to breathe because they don't live on Everest, but they live in the area. So he would be trying to work along with them and couldn't because of the air. But yeah, so for him, I mean, that was just really not something he had anticipated before. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. I was pretty interested in mountaineering literature for a while, but I mean, there's much more interest. People get, I can't even imagine now with Instagram. I mean, one of the things that happens on, like, there's all these stories on about Mount Everest, about people like that are laying there, like obviously like really ill, and other people just stepping over them to get to the top. Because also people get like so fucking focused. Like some people, they can be one of like 20 feet from, because you're supposed to turn down at a certain time, no matter, you know, and it's like that with all sorts of like distance sports or activity. You have a time that you need to end and go home. I mean, because it'll get dark or something or other will happen. And so that's one of the beliefs that for why people died on Everest is they kept climbing past the point that they were supposed to be to turn around, and so they got caught in the blizzard and died. Because I think people, I mean, I don't know. I would probably just lie. I mean, if I were gonna do some stupid ass thing like that and got within like 20 feet of the top, I would just tell people I made it. People are just so insane now with wanting to get a picture of everything. But oh yeah, I made it. I just didn't get a picture. I mean, to me, with just the way my mind works, if I get that close, I will have considered myself to have climbed the mountain. But a lot of people don't think that way. You know, it's it like with diving, you have a point in your tank. Like when your tank is half full, you need to turn around and go back. I mean, it's just because to make sure you have enough oxygen to make it back. I mean, that's just, so with climbing, I mean, with anything you like that, you need to have a point where you end. You need to know when you're going to end. So, yeah. There's just some pretty, I mean, John Krakauer is a great writer, and he's, so yeah, I mean, his descriptions of the cold, see, that's part of it for me. That's the thing. I mean, mountaineers, they like suffering. They're in the freezing cold, and you feel like sick and nauseated and stuff. I don't like I don't like suffering. I don't want to go out where it's freezing cold. I mean, I want to go skiing in warm gear, and yeah, I just think hiking is so fucking boring. I was listening to one of Biden's judicial nominees, a good old Senate, lame duck Senate. People try and get a lot done this time of the year in the Senate because they know lots of people aren't paying attention, and they also, I mean, they want to try and like do it before they lose their seat and need to go find a real job, whatever. So Biden, so one of the Republican senators was asking a nominee about writing she did in her third year of college. And it was something where she wrote in the campus paper that Christians are bigots. And in 1998. So like, wait, what is that, 25 years ago? I mean, yeah. So I just felt, she was saying it was, she was saying like, she was 20, it was her third year in college, and the senator was going like, you were a grown woman. It's like, oh, that is so fucking selective. If she wanted to get into, I mean, they are all too happy to not think minors are totally selective. But, she was trying to say it was before she went to law school. It's not how she thinks anymore. And it's like, oh, fuck you people, talk about, it's not like, I don't know, when that much time, it's not like people are in their it's not like she's in her early 20s and you're not hiring her because of something. It's not like she's in her mid 20s and you're not hiring her because of something she wrote when she was in her 20. When she was 20, it's 25 years ago. You have like a lot of other information that you can use to decide on her qualifications. I mean, yeah. So yeah, hopefully she'll get in. Indonesia outlawed sex before marriage.
Indonesia?
Indonesia. What's weird is Indonesia makes a lot of their money off of tourism. So that's kind of the surprising thing about that, because now there's people saying that they're not sure if they want to go there. And I was like, what? I was amazed, because I mean, countries like that lost so much money because of COVID. I'm like, wow, tourism is opening back up and you're going to make a rule like that? I mean, just say nothing of people that actually live there. Oh, okay. This was fucking cool. I was reading about the world's most remote post office, which is in Antarctica. And I was like, well, why do they even have a post office there? But it's because it's a connecting point for like scientific research. And so there's 4 women living there. And like a lot of people applied to go live there, and taking care of the post office and counting the penguins. So basically it's just them, the post office, and the penguins. So that actually sounds kind of cool. But yeah, so they just have nothing, no running water, nothing, total, freezing cold. But lots of tourists come there. I guess there's a lot of like tour boats up there. So that's why there's the post office, and there's a museum and gift shop. So they need somebody to run it. So they're going to be there for 5 months, something. So yeah, kind of cool. A bill to restrict the private ownership of big cats like lions and tigers in the U.S. is passed by unanimous consent in the Senate. I listened to a podcast about Siegfried and Roy. I had no idea it was so easy to own a tiger in the U.S. I thought that it was, because you know how in 60s TV and all that, people always have like wild animals?
Yeah.
Pets. I didn't think it was that easy anymore. But I guess it's not that hard. Robin Washington and his family, Robin that directed one of the Bayard Rustin films that I show, they had an ocelot in the 60s. Okay, so the demonstrations in Iran are continuing, and one of the people we've talked about is Elnaz Rekabi, and she's an Iranian climber, and she competed abroad with her hair uncovered, and she said that it was an accident, but who knows? But she apologized and said it was an accident, which she kind of had to do, but her home has been demolished. So nobody yet is too sure how many people have been killed in this.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the leaders are claiming that the morality police were disbanded, because the morality police like go around and like nab women that aren't dressed how they want them to be dressed and take them to the police station. Supposedly it's just for education, but what set off the demonstrations was a young woman died there. So the government is claiming that the morality police have been abolished, but they haven't changed the laws. So I don't know, man. I am just sending my, it just makes me so sad and just so angry. And it's just even, I mean, this generation's online. I've seen interviews with young Iranian people that are saying like they see how other people are living and they want to have fun. They want to live. So want to take another break?
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll be back. Thank you, Alvin and Calvin, for listening.
Yeah. Keep it moving. Yeah. Hey, I think I'm Bruce Wayne, fucking on your boot thing. She love my 2 chains. What you gon' do, man? I think I'm Bruce Wayne, fucking on your boot thing. She love my 2 chains. What you gon' do, man? Pull up in that black thing, all black on. It's Fetty. You know you're in the slab zone. Keep myself nice, I love my toys. Yo, shift and sailed, I'm yelling ahoy. Had a good girl at home, but he'd rather run the streets. Now she ain't answering the phone, she's ready to creep. She get deep, leave a bad one in denial. I'm the judge, and you're guilty in my trial. Not my style to get it, folks biz. Ain't about to drop the ball, shit, to know what it is. Get the biz. If you come my way, I got gang. Bro, I don't play. Hustle hard, move in silence. You don't know me in all black, she took you out, I'm the last finalist. Rhyme spit, kill it every time. Keep it a fucking 100 on every rhyme. I think I'm Bruce Wayne, fucking on your boot thing. Shitting on my 2 chains. What you gon' do, man? I think I'm Bruce Wayne, fucking on your boot thing. Shitting on my 2 chains. What you gon' do, man?
feel alright. Woo! Ever wake up in the morning and you're feeling mighty fine? Had a hard night's sleep, got a lot on your mind. Gotta tell yourself to relax, just be cool. I feel good, I feel right, I feel alright. I feel good, I'm okay, I feel alright. No matter what nobody say, gotta do what you do. Live up, praise God, just do you, do you. Don't let the worries of the world get in your way. You feel good, you feel fine, you feel okay. I feel good, I feel right, I feel okay. I feel good, I feel right, I feel okay. I feel good, I feel right, I feel okay. I feel good, so good, so good, so good, so good. I feel right, so right, so right, so right. I feel good, so good, so right. Everything's gonna go my way. I feel good. I feel good. I feel good, so good, so good, so good. I feel good, so good, so good, so good, so good.
Woo! Anna's Global History Radio. What's up, Anna?
Hey, I just saw something really cool. Somebody we need to congratulate. Jalen Smith, who of Earl, Arkansas, is 18 years old, and he's the mayor. He was just elected.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, Jalen. So yeah, he's the youngest Black mayor in U.S. history. He's the mayor of Earl, a town of just under 2,000 people.
The Duke of Earl. All right.
Yeah, man. Congratulations, Jalen. I think half of the teenagers I know are named Jalen. Yeah, very cool, man. We will be looking for great things from you, Mayor Jalen. Yeah, especially this is why I don't like I get annoyed with people like constantly, oh, we need to bring in the youth, we need to like blah blah blah, and I'm like, you can do stuff on their own, okay? They don't need it. I mean, yeah. Okay, so yes, congratulations, young Jalen. A bunch of streets in Germany just changed their names to be named after Africans instead of colonizers. So I was reading some articles about that. So then there were people that lived on the street that were kind of mad about it. They're like, oh, we're going to have to change all this stuff. I was like, well, you know, change happens. I'm going to have to go change my driver's license, all that. I mean, it's expensive to do changes, but I mean, I remember when I was young, in Seattle, like only like there was a major street called Empire Way. I only remember that because the way you just sort of remember things from when you're a kid, and they changed it to Martin Luther King Way. I don't know, maybe the 70s or 80s or something. So there you go.
Well, speaking of that, you heard about Too Short, right?
Mm-mm.
You didn't hear about Too Short? They're making a street for him in Oakland, Too Short Way.
No.
No, it's not a joke either. They're really making a street for him.
Really?
You know who Too Short is, though, right?
Yes, I know who Too Short is.
I'm just making sure. Yeah, they're making a street for him in Oakland. I think it's December 10th is when it's official.
Why him?
I think they should. He was like the original rapper from Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard. I mean, it would be hard to choose. I mean, there's a lot of so yeah. So is that because
no, Too Short is different. That's Too Short.
Okay.
He is one of the founders of rap. To me, he's one of the founders of rap. Definitely in Oakland. Oakland, it's like when it first comes to mind, it's Too Short to me. Like Too Short.
Okay.
You know, so I think it's just. I think it's cool.
I mean, there's it would just be. I mean, there's a lot of rappers from the area, but
Too Short's been around a long time.
Well,
Too Short's like what, mid-50s, almost, maybe even. Too Short's kind of old.
Oh my God, that's old.
No, I mean, I'm saying the other rappers are younger there. I don't think there's any rapper younger than him in Oakland. Period.
Yeah.
He's been around the longest.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That is cool. Is there going to be a ceremony or?
Yeah, December 10th.
Oh, wow. That's soon.
Yep. So it'll be officially history. I forgot where they said it was at, but I'm sure they're going to have the ceremony on TV. It's going to probably be on channel 2, 4, 5, you know.
Maybe it's the area where he grew up or something.
It could be. You know, I didn't get that far with it of what street it's going to be, but.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I think it's great for people to be able to look at like the street names around them and know who the fuck they're talking about and have it be somebody significant.
You know, that's what everybody thinks they should do to Vallejo. They should make a street for Mac Dre.
There's some pretty great musicians that have come out. It would just be it would be hard to choose.
So if you had a choice right now, who would you choose to name a street after, a rapper or a musician in Vallejo? Who would you choose?
Sly and the Family Stone.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Who would you choose?
I don't know, man. I'm not like a super Vallejo person, but
neither am I.
In a Family Stone. I live here, but I mean, come on now. I mean, people who live here, I don't know who they would personally choose. The only reason why I say Mac Dre is because when you could think of Vallejo, you only think of two people. I think of is Mac Dre and E40.
Well, yeah.
And then there is Sly and the Family Stone, but
he got to open.
They should have been that a long time ago for them.
Well, yeah, they absolutely should have. Well, you know, you gotta open it up too, because I mean, Sly and the Family Stone are like historic. I mean, everybody knows their music.
I agree, but I don't think too many people know their music now. I hate to say it.
They know it. They know it from samples.
Some people don't. You'd be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be because I knew their music I only knew their music from samples until like
okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't think too many, I hate to say it, but I don't think too many people know them now or know who that even is. I think that would be I agree with you, but I think they should have did it a long time ago.
Well, there's still a lot of older people around that would know. I mean, well, it's kind of interesting. Maybe they should, because after I saw that movie, The Summer, I got interested in them after I saw that movie, Summer of Soul.
And I still got to see that too.
I know, man. Dude, you didn't watch any of those movies you're supposed to watch on vacation.
I know, dude. I tried, man. Dude, when I'm on vacation, dude, I got to go everywhere, dude. Everybody wants me everywhere at once. It's just crazy.
You do.
I got to kind of do a sneak vacation and just do it and just not tell nobody. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, just don't tell anyone you're on vacation. I won't.
There you go. Yeah. You're right. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Well, I appreciate you coming over. So everybody, DJ Rowe came over and helped me figure out some like fucking picture hooks.
Oh, did you put some more up?
Not yet, because after you left, I was getting ready for the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I will. I will. I'm jazzing up my plays. So yeah, I have like, I mean, I have some art, and then I've also just been getting, I just want to fill up the walls. So I've been getting like little weird pictures from the thrift stores and all that. But yes, I will. I'll jazz. So yes, I appreciate you coming over. I know your time is limited. So, but yeah, that would, oh, but so I don't know. So maybe like, I mean, somebody, well, when was the last time anybody covered any of their songs?
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of no one. It's like right now. I hate when musicians just get left behind like that. It's like by a certain point, people don't really remember them. Like me and you know who they are, but you know, I'm pretty sure you'll be surprised. There's probably not that many people in Vallejo that remember them unless they're really older people. So
people my age that remember.
Okay, huh?
Yeah, we're old.
But well, I'm saying like Mac Dre, everybody seems to know, all ages seem to know Mac Dre.
Not older people.
Shoot, I knew some older dude. Even at work, I knew a guy who lives in Vacaville, and dude, I cannot believe he knew who Mac Dre was. And this dude is like 60 years old, and he knew Mac Dre.
Well, Sly and the Family Stone are super broad culturally. That makes a difference for like naming a street, you know. I mean, but yes, well, somebody needs to cover some of their songs, because you know how, or I don't know, use it in a film or something, because you know, like a lot of people, well, shit, more people knew who they were than knew who Kate Bush is.
Right.
So
it all depends on what record company and how the record companies work.
Yeah,
you probably can't play their stuff. That's probably why they're not.
Do you know who Kate Bush is?
Nah, who's that?
She's like she's a woman, she's a woman from England, you know, very like, she has a high voice, and I mean, I was like insane for her when I was young, and so it's very much my generation's music. But then they played one of her songs on that TV show Stranger Things, so then people started buying her music again. So if they did something like that for Sly and the Family Stone, I mean, you know, they just need to get on some, you know, God, maybe her will cover some of their music or something. I love her because she does great covers. So yeah, that's very cool. I'm definitely going to look up the pictures of Too Short Way. So do you think other people are mad, there's other musicians that are mad that it wasn't named after them?
I don't know. I mean, they ain't said nothing, but we'll find out. I'm sure it'll come out if they are.
I'm sure they are. Musicians are so sensitive.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. I haven't heard anybody say anything, but
like if you were like, say if you like, say if you were going to argue about it, like say somebody told you that who would be like second choice?
I don't know, man.
Really?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know for Oakland. I don't know how I would go with that one. I don't know.
Okay.
What bands came out of Oakland that you would know, that you remember besides Too Short? I mean, I know of other people, but the other ones are younger than him, so I wouldn't choose any of them.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I mean, Too Short is like a household name in Oakland.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else, and I can't think of an old school band like you just said, Sly and the Family Stone. I can't think of nobody from Oakland that I can say that can match that. And like I said, if there was, they're probably long forgotten.
Wow.
I hate to say it, like I'm not trying to be mean, but that's usually kind of how it happens when they fall off.
Yeah.
And when they were, you know, at their high point, that they should have had a street back, like with Sly and Family Stone. They should have had a street back in their prime, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they waited. I mean, right now.
Well, you should, I mean, but that's if you name something after someone while they're still in their prime, then they can go, I don't think that should happen, because then you don't know what's going to happen. They could go crazy
Right.
and
Well, I don't mean necessarily in their prime, but Sly and the Family Stone was popular in the 70s.
Mhm.
It's kind of hard to bring them back in 2023.
I mean, well, now the Family Stone is touring.
Yeah, but is it even the whole same Family Stone? Is it like,
No, because some of them are dead.
that's what I'm,
But,
you see what I'm saying? You kind of see what I'm getting
They
at with
were
that?
they were way past the 70s.
Yeah, but I'm just
Still doing show. They did. I mean, they were one of those bands.
Yeah, but they do the same thing with the Temptations and stuff too. But it's to a point now. It's not even the same temptation. You know what I'm saying? It's.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, how long their legacy lasts, but I'm saying in the sense of how people are now, unless you're an older person, a lot of people aren't going to know who they are. Too Short is kind of still relevant to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yes. Yeah. It does.
Okay. Sly and the Family Stone, you can't go up to a 20-year-old and probably say, hey, what do you think about Sly and the Family? They're probably going to be like, who's Sly and the Family Stone? You go up to a 20-year-old now and say, hey, who's Too Short? They know who Too Short is. I can go up to a 50-year-old. You know who Too Short is? I know Too Short.
Yeah.
Because Too Short's that age. So all these people know him geographically from 20 all the way up.
Yeah.
Sly and the Family Stone is kind of way off.
Yeah.
On the age bracket. So
well, there was just this big argument. Another Vallejo argument was about renaming a school, and somebody on the school board a Filipino guy on the school board didn't like that there aren't any schools in Vallejo named after anyone Filipino. So he proposed a name, and see, that's weird with schools, because you can name, and so the school was named after somebody who was an educator for a long time, and a lot of people have no idea who the guy was. And, but there's but I mean, there's some parks in Seattle named after local people, and it means you find out about them. There's some, and there's a so yeah, that's a so that can be really good, because I mean that's what they mean by keeping their name alive. And so, but I don't know. I mean, you have to. I don't think students should make the decisions, but I think that's the sort of thing that would be great to get students involved in. I mean, it means that they would learn about people, and yeah, they should be able to make suggestions, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I just think it would be interesting, because most people aren't even going to notice if you change the name of a school, and you're just going to keep and people just keep calling it by the old name.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so there's been a conflict in Colombia for 60 years, and there's now peace talks between the government and the rebel group, and they've agreed that indigenous people who were displaced by the conflict should be guaranteed safe return to their lands in the province, he said, which is good, because a lot of time, I mean, when people get in there and start making deals, indigenous people get totally left out of it. So kind of like what's happened with the Abraham Accords. I was reading about the Abraham Accord. There's like an Abraham Accords meeting with such and such. I was like, yeah, man. So because So you all, because it's about you all making money. So you got anything going on this weekend? Any shows?
This weekend, no. Nope. And next weekend is my dad's birthday, so that's his birthday's on the 18th. I think that's next week. Yep, that's next Sunday. So far, nothing this week.
Relania said that I should check with her. The coasters I ordered for my niece are she said they're ready. I wonder if your Raiders coasters are ready.
Yes, they are.
Oh, nice. I want to see them. What a cool birthday present. Since I'm a Raiders fan now, everybody.
Whoa, Anna has officially brought it up. So Anna, you got to realize you got to stick with it.
Dude, I am loyal as shit. You know that.
All right, okay. I'm just saying, just be ready.
I'm ready. I'm loyal. I am.
All right.
I'm very loyal, man. I'm what you call loyal to a fault.
There we go. I like that. That's cool. So I'm gonna have to start coaching Anna, y'all.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to bring her into the nation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You almost got the colors on too. I'm seeing the grays and the black. So you're getting there.
Okay.
You're already there.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was like watching. I mean, yeah, I was just noticing. I was like watching. There's like people that score it on YouTube. So yeah, so I was like, yeah, man, I'm ready, man. I need a team. So okay, well, I got next week. There's a lot of stuff going on, like the holiday parties and all that. But this week's pretty chill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Well, we'll be back next week, everybody.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Good night.
All right, y'all.